is this a good idea? A lot to get into today with Dr. Kevin Campbell, K-Rock Consulting, President and CEO cardiologist as well. Doctor, first off, on these mandates that are nationwide, depending on the state, depending how far they go, about ordering healthcare workers, teachers, public workers of all sorts to be vaccinated, and if not, to be on the verge of losing their job. What do you think of that?
You know, this is really not unusual, Neil. For the longest time, at most healthcare centers, healthcare systems, you've had to be inoculated for the flu vaccine in order to go to work. So this is really not that different. If you remember as a school kid, you had to have polio and MMR. Right. So this is not that far outside of, accepted practice.
I worry when I hear healthcare workers aren't getting vaccinated, because that's the one subset of the population you think would. Now, many have perfectly valid reasons. I'm not here to criticize them, but when healthcare workers are holding back, should I worry? If you're an unvaccinated American, I'm vaccinated, but it doesn't matter. But doesn't that give them still more reason for pause?
One of the things that bothers me about healthcare workers not getting vaccinated is I feel like doctors and nurses and those that work in the hospital should set the example and lead the way. Not only are they putting themselves at risk, but they're putting their high-risk patients at risk for, transmitting the COVID-19 virus. I think, honestly, it's shameful that a healthcare worker would not put their patients first and get the vaccine.
Doctor, while I've got you here, Anthony Fauci over the weekend was talking about where we stand on the virus, and even going so far out as to Christmas, as to whether we can gather as we normally would. This is from Dr. Fauci.
We can gather for Christmas, or it's just too soon to tell?
Margaret, it's just too soon to tell. We've just got to concentrating on continuing to get those numbers down and not try to jump ahead by weeks or months and say what we're going to do at a particular time.
There's a good and bad in this, Doctor. I understand. Bad news if you really relish being together with your family and the possibility you won't be. But good news if you really don't flip over your in-laws. So let me just put that aside and get your thoughts on that. That out to Christmas, we might be advised best not to think big groups. What did you think of that?
One of the things that bothers me about this whole situation of talking about what we might need to do at Christmas is there's so much that we can do right now today. If we can focus on getting more Americans vaccinated, herd immunity, making sure that those at risk are protected, then the Christmas thing won't be an issue. So I'm a little frustrated by that. My advice to folks would be use common sense, use your best judgment. If much of your family is not vaccinated and you have a high-risk condition and you're at risk for complications of COVID, it's probably wise not to gather. However, if you are all vaccinated and everyone around you is vaccinated, I see no reason why you can't have a traditional Christmas celebration just like we always have.
All right. It depends on the in-law thing, but I'll get back to you on that, Doctor, and you could advise accordingly. But Dr. Kevin Campbell on all of that. But again, to be fair, Dr. Fauci had said that this was a possibility, that it's too soon to say unequivocally one way or the other which way we should go, but it did get people worried about that. All right. In the meantime, getting